What if our understanding of chosen ones has been misaligned all along? After years of spiritual research, I discovered something that transformed my entire perspective. Traditional teachings suggest only select prophets, healers, and visionaries with extraordinary gifts are chosen. But the surprising truth I uncovered challenges this foundational belief. Today, I'm sharing a revelation about who the chosen ones really are. A different understanding that might be exactly what your spiritual journey needs right now. What if being chosen isn't what you've always believed? This truth could illuminate your path in unexpected ways. Have you ever wondered why spiritual texts seem to focus on exceptional individuals while the rest of us are left feeling spiritually ordinary? It's a question that has lingered in the consciousness of seekers for centuries, creating an invisible barrier between those who appear divinely favored and everyone else. Throughout history, religious and spiritual traditions have elevated certain figures as specially selected by divine forces. Moses parted the Red Sea, Buddha achieved enlightenment under the Bodhi tree, Jesus performed miracles. These extraordinary stories, while inspiring, have created a spiritual hierarchy that resembles an exclusive club with impossible membership requirements. We're taught to revere these figures, but rarely encouraged to see ourselves as capable of similar spiritual significance. This interpretation has fostered a spiritual class system where prophets, saints, and avatars occupy the highest tier, deemed worthy of divine attention, while the rest of us remain spiritual commoners, permanently excluded from true spiritual significance, left only to follow and admire from a distance. When we examine ancient texts more closely, we discover something fascinating. Many references to chosen ones were interpreted through hierarchical cultural lenses of their time. In societies where kings ruled by divine right and social classes were rigidly defined, spiritual selection was viewed through a similar exclusive framework. However, these texts may actually point toward universal spiritual truths rather than divine favoritism. This misunderstanding creates real psychological consequences. In my conversations with spiritual seekers, I've heard consistent expressions of profound inadequacy. A recent spiritual psychology study found that feeling unchosen strongly correlates with spiritual depression and disconnection. As one seeker told me, "I measure my experiences against those of enlightened masters and always fall short. What's wrong with me? Why haven't I been chosen for something greater?" Modern spiritual communities often reinforce these concepts with language like star seeds, indigo children, and old souls with special missions. While offering comfort to some, these terms create new spiritual hierarchies that exclude many from what matters most. People who perceive themselves as spiritually ordinary are more likely to abandon their practices entirely, believing their efforts are somehow less valuable than those of the truly called. But historical evidence suggests we've misread the spiritual map altogether. When we look beyond surface interpretations and examine various traditions more deeply, from Sufism to Taoism to esoteric Christianity, a different picture emerges. These wisdom traditions contain threads suggesting the concept of being chosen was never about divine favoritism. The revolutionary truth is that historical misconceptions have shaped our limited view of spiritual selection. The concept pointed toward universal spiritual potential, an invitation extended to all humanity. What made certain figures stand out wasn't that they alone received the call, but that they fully answered it when so many others turned away. That universal invitation changes the entire spiritual equation from passive waiting to active choosing. Consider those moments when something deep within you stirred at a sunset, a piece of music, or a chance encounter. What if those weren't random experiences, but personal invitations to something greater? Like a gentle knock at the door of your consciousness, these moments await your response. The most transformative spiritual question might not be, "Why haven't I been chosen?" but rather, "Why haven't I answered?" This shift in perspective transforms our understanding of spiritual selection. Authentic spiritual calling operates as an open invitation extended to every living being. The difference between those we consider spiritually significant and everyone else is simply their recognition and response to the same universal call. Across diverse wisdom traditions, we find this pattern hidden in plain sight. Buddhist teachings suggest that enlightenment potential exists within everyone. The Sufi tradition speaks of the longing of the heart that draws seekers toward the divine. Even within hierarchical traditions, the chosen ones were active responders to a universal invitation. This introduces a powerful distinction between the called and the chosen. Everyone experiences the call through moments of wonder, compassion, and connection. The chosen are simply those who answered. It's like a train constantly passing through the station of your life. The opportunity to board is always there, but you must make the choice to step aboard. Consider Dorothy Day, who began as an ordinary journalist before becoming a powerful voice for social justice by responding to the suffering she witnessed. Or Howard Thurman, whose quiet commitment influenced generations of civil rights leaders, including Martin Luther King Jr. These weren't people singled out by cosmic favoritism, but individuals who answered an invitation that whispers to everyone. This reframing shifts spiritual power dynamics from external selection to internal choice and commitment. Your spiritual path isn't determined by whether some cosmic force picked you, but by how you respond to the invitation extended to everyone. Interestingly, that feeling of being unchosen might actually be a misinterpretation of spiritual signals. When you feel ordinary or spiritually insignificant, you're experiencing the dissolution of ego-based spirituality. The ego craves recognition and status, even in spiritual realms. Feeling unchosen might indicate you're on exactly the right spiritual path. That sense of spiritual ordinariness often emerges when you're moving beyond ego-based spirituality into authentic service. The most spiritually significant lives are characterized by humility, service, and a willingness to show up for what life is asking of you. The feeling of ordinariness might actually be the most reliable sign of spiritual significance. While we're busy searching for chosen ones with supernatural abilities and divine recognition, the true spiritual giants are often the quiet neighbor who visits nursing homes or the anonymous volunteer serving meals to the homeless. Let me introduce you to Rachel Naomi Remen, a physician who works with the seriously ill. In her decades of service, she discovered that the most meaningful way to succeed is to help others succeed. To help others heal is to heal ourselves. What makes her insight powerful is that these everyday heroes rarely recognize their own importance. They simply see a need and respond with compassion. Picture this: a hospice volunteer sitting beside a dying patient in a dimly lit room, their presence creating a gentle sanctuary amidst medical equipment and beeping monitors. They hold weathered hands and listen to whispered stories, offering comfort during life's final transition. These individuals create profound ripples of healing that touch families and communities through their quiet service. Research from Berkeley's Greater Good Science Center revealed that consistent small acts of compassion create more lasting positive change than dramatic interventions. People performing regular acts of service experience a helper's high, a neurochemical boost that reinforces continued compassion and creates sustainable transformation. Consider Hector Black, a pecan farmer from Georgia whose daughter was murdered. In the shadow of unimaginable grief, he chose forgiveness, eventually corresponding with her killer. His quiet choice inspired prison reform advocates and restorative justice movements, yet he never sought recognition. His spiritual significance emerged from his authentic response to tragedy. The invisible ministry of friendship provides another powerful example. Those friends who show up during life crises, offering no platitudes, just presence, embody spiritual heroism without recognition. They arrive with no miraculous solutions, just the courage to witness suffering and remain present through it. These examples reveal a different framework for understanding spiritual significance. The true chosen ones develop what we might call extraordinary ordinariness, the capacity to meet life's moments with authenticity and compassion. Harvard Divinity School's research on the ministry of ordinary life shows that meaningful spiritual work increasingly happens in everyday spaces, community gardens, recovery groups, neighborhood associations, where people serve without titles or recognition. This shift makes spirituality accessible beyond traditional religious contexts. When interviewed, these everyday heroes express genuine surprise. "I'm just doing what needs doing. Anyone would do the same." This isn't false modesty, but the perspective of those who've transcended ego-driven spirituality to embody authentic service. The true chosen ones aren't divinely selected. They're ordinary people making extraordinary choices in seemingly small moments that ripple outward in ways they may never comprehend. So we've come full circle, haven't we? The true power in being chosen isn't something bestowed upon you from a cosmic lottery. It's the courage to answer the call that's been whispering to your spirit all along. This perspective shift transforms your journey. Your willingness to serve is itself the confirmation you've been seeking. When that hesitation arises, questioning if you're special enough, recognize it as your invitation to step forward. Like a seed destined to become a mighty oak, your calling already contains everything needed to flourish. Your spiritual significance isn't measured by divine favoritism, but by your authentic response to what moves your soul. What calling have you been hesitating to answer? That gentle nudge to create, heal, or serve awaits your simple yes. Your spiritual journey isn't about becoming exceptional. It's about embracing the exceptional journey that's uniquely yours.